Hello, folks. Once again, I'm here to talk about a very different kind of car market. An industry that doesn't follow international norms. A market that writes its own rules, regardless of what history or experience might suggest. Before we continue, please click the subscribe button. It's honestly the only real form of encouragement on this platform. Today's story is where Japanese heritage meets Persian legacy. It's the story of a company from Japan that taught us Iranians an unexpected lesson to be grateful for our identity and proud of what our ancestors left behind. The car we are talking about lived through 9 generations in just 40 years. The legendary Mazda Familia.
Gina was a driving girl with geographic memory. Karen dumped her boyfriend Jim, forget that slacker misery. Charlie works in cyberspace, /.com all day long. Pamela, she couldn't sing but kept the beat and kept it strong. The all-new Mazda Protege. A change from all your high-maintenance relationships.
The company was named Mazda as a tribute to its founder, Jujiro Matsuda, but the name carries a deeper meaning. According to Mazda itself, the name also refers to Ahura Mazda, the god of harmony, intelligence, and wisdom. The central figure of Zoroastrianism, one of the world's oldest monotheistic religions. Through this name, Mazda aimed to honor both its cultural roots and a universal aspirational identity. The Mazda Familia was first introduced in 1963 as a small family car. In 1977, the name 323 was adopted for export markets such as Europe. Over its long lifespan, the car was built in multiple countries and sold under many different names. Mazda Familia, Ford Laser, Ford Lynx, Mazda Protege, and in China, even as Haima Hopin. It reached nearly every continent. The Familia was Mazda's answer to the Toyota Corolla and Honda Civic, but among enthusiasts, it often earned a special reputation. A driver's choice, thanks to its sharper handling and more engaging road manners. The ninth generation Mazda 323 was launched in 1998. In Iran, a local company called the Bahman Group took over the project. The car was imported as CKD or completely knocked down units, and local assembly began around 1999. Remarkably, production in Iran continued for almost 4 years after international production had ended. That means the Mazda 323 stayed in Iranian showrooms until around 2007.
سفر همچون غزال به سرعت باد، به قدرت رود، به نرمی ابر. مازدا 929 و مازدا 808.
شما مثل من مازدا رو انتخاب میکنید.
با مازدا به زیبایی ها بپیوندید. مازدا 929 مازدا 808.
فروش با وام بانکی.
The car I found online was nearly 20 years old and owned by this gentleman for over a decade. He had driven the car for almost 300,000 kilometers. 323 has the classic design of the late 90s. Almond-shaped headlights and a small grille with the Mazda badge give a clean, tidy face. The bumper is simple, with round fog lamp housing on higher trims and a low, wide air intake for a planted look. From the side, it's a classic 3-box sedan, a straight shoulder line through the door handles, a tall greenhouse, and a near-level beltline with subtle flares over the arches. Thin side rub strips break up the doors, and sportier trims were 15-inch 5-spoke wheels. At the back, the tail lamps sit entirely on the quarter panels, nothing on the trunk lid. Inside the cluster, you get an amber turn light and a clear reverse light. The plate is centered on the trunk, above a clean flat bumper, and the short deck lid finishes in a gentle lip. The spots you can see on the hood are mostly paint clear coat failure, common in our city's heat and intense sunlight. The real fix is repainting. He avoided that, worried buyers would assume the repainting was done due to accident damage. I told him it's usually easy to tell the difference between a cosmetic respray and a repair after a crash. Inside, the 323 keeps things simple and honest. A symmetrical dash with oval side vents and 2 stacked in the middle frames a tiny digital clock, pure late 90s Mazda. The center stack is straightforward, quick access to audio and old-school rotary climate knobs. Ahead of you, a classic Mazda steering wheel and simple analog gauges remind you this car was built for driving, not for menus. On the move, what surprised me the most was the isolation. Very little outside noise and almost no squeaks or rattles. After all these years, the trim still feels tight, and the cabin is free of the extra vibration you would expect at this mileage. Now remember the context of its era. Compared with same period Civic and Corolla, Mazda's interior design was simpler and less adventurous. The 9th generation Mazda 323 entered a brutally competitive era dominated by Toyota Corolla and Honda Civic. While Mazda delivered the most enjoyable driving experience of the three, it couldn't match the Corolla or Civic in global success. The Corolla V1.0 had unmatched reliability, extremely low running costs, and a worldwide reputation strong enough to push it into taxi fleets, family garages, and developing markets everywhere. The Honda Civic of the same era offered a blend of efficiency, durability, and youthful appeal supported by VTEC performance and a huge aftermarket culture. Meanwhile, the 323, although well engineered and surprisingly refined for its class, suffered from Mazda's smaller global network, weaker resale value, and limited market penetration, ultimately making it a respected but far less influential competitor in the compact car landscape of the late 90s and early 2000s. And finally, under the hood, 323 has a 1.6-liter engine rated around 106 horsepower. The Mazda 323 left behind a meaningful legacy in Iran's isolated automotive market. It paved the way for its successor, the Mazda 3, and helped build Mazda's long-standing respectable image in the country. The Familia earned a strong reputation, especially among buyers with above-average incomes. Despite its modest interior and lack of flashy features, the 323 was admired for two things: durability and solid build quality. These virtues earned it a loyal following. Mazda as a brand was held in high regard, seen as a benchmark of Japanese reliability. That reputation elevated the 323 into the upper tier of compact sedans, even without premium options. At the time, the Mazda 323 carried a relatively high price tag, over $20,000. Many buyers still saw it as a smart investment. Its appeal didn't come from luxury, but from a smooth ride, long-term dependability, and the confidence it inspired in everyday use. It's difficult to name a direct competitor from that era at the same price point. Perhaps the Citroën Xantia came closest, but that was a D-segment family car, while the 323 was a C-segment compact. The comparison was more about price than class. A car that once sold for over $20,000 can still fetch up to $7,000 today on the used market. Of course, if it's in good condition. Alright guys, thanks for watching this episode. Please don't forget to click the subscribe button. I'll see you soon.